Hey guys, and welcome to the Pyrography or Writing with Fire channel or playlist here on Thelearningdroid. I've decided to have a little go at attempting some pyrography. It interested me, and even though I have no time at the moment, things that interest me tend to attack whatever little time I have, even if it means missing a little bit of sleep every now and then. In this first video in the Pyrography channel, I just thought I'd have a look at what I bought to do pyrography, my first pyrography tool. I made the choice I made basically because of cost. You can get far more expensive, far more powerful, or far more adaptable tools, but I decided to go with quite a cheap, simple one as I'm a beginner. I don't know where I'm going to be going with it. So I got this, which is a wood burning hobby kit. It's what's known among pyrography as a solid point single temperature. Sorry for that. I have a bit of a cold. A solid point single temperature pyrography machine basically means that the points are made out of solid metal and are shaped for you, unlike a wire machine where you can shape the wire yourself into whichever size or design you want. And single temperature means exactly what it says. It's a single temperature machine. The single temperature ones you buy tend to get set as a standardized temperature that will burn very cleanly and very well on a medium density wood. Light density woods, it tends to burn a bit too hot and burn a bit too quickly, and high density woods tend to take a bit of time working with them to burn in the designs as you want. Because of the way it's set up, it works quite well. This comes with most pyrography machines. It's a little mount. Always attach this to something, because this is very rarely heavy enough to support the machine if it gets knocked or if it gets put on at a strange angle. So this is the machine itself. You have the pen, which you hold it by, which has this sticking out of it. This is the heating element, and the heat shield. Now you can get ones with multiple heat shields, and they allow you to work for longer without the pen getting hot, and also allow you to hold it at a higher angle for longer without your fingers getting hot. But a single heat shield is fine. And then you have on the tip, notice it's not turned on, you have on the tip the solid point tips. So if I give you a look at that. Basically a solid piece of metal with a screw thread on the bottom, and it just screws straight into the heating section here. As you can see, I've already used this a couple of times. It's got a nice little char on the tip. This one's a 30-watt version. It works really well. I've done a few little experiments. I will not show you any of my shameful attempts at pyrography yet, but I will have a little look at and explain a few of the bits. So let's see if we can show you these bits. You should have been able to see those. I'm not 100% sure because I can't see what the camera's looking at. But basically the solid point bits come in a variety of different kinds. These ones, which are quite large round tipped ones with designs on them, are known as branders. And basically you just press them point down into the piece of wood to brand on the design, using them again and again to repeat designs. This one's a little hexagon. We also have squares and stripes, a very basic form. This large bit, which confuses a lot of people look at this and think it's for shading in areas. It's actually a pattern transfer piece. If you have a laser printer or have access to a laser printer, what you can do is you can print your pattern using a laser printer, and because of the way laser printer ink works, it will work with other inks dependent on the kind of ink, but sometimes they release unpleasant chemicals. But the way a laser printer ink works, if you heat it back up again, you can actually transfer the ink off the surface onto another one. So if you print your design in a laser printer back to front, and then place it face down on a piece of wood, you can use this very carefully across the back of the piece of paper to transfer your design across. It works exceedingly well. I may give you a video of that later on. The only issue is you can heat scar the wood. so you can discolour the wood before you start your pyrography by leaving this on too long. This is a wonderful little bit. It's just a basic chuck bit for scalpel blades, knife blades, craft blades. Anyone who's used a craft knife knows exactly how these things work. It works exactly the same as it does on those, but it gets hot, so it's used for hot cutting. It works quite well. I haven't used it yet, but from what I've been told, the hot cutting system is exceedingly good on pyrography machines because the blade gets very hot. Then we have our shader. In this case we have a spear point shader, which is a nice flat surface which you can use for shading. I actually find that the edges of this work very well for doing fine lines. We have our all-purpose bit, where we can use the point for dotting, we can use the blade or the side of the blade for shading, we can use the blade for lining, all fine. We have our little engraving bit, which is so small it's difficult to get out. It's got a teeny tiny little point on it, and it's because it gets so hot because it's so small, you can actually carve into the wood using heat. Very useful. Then we have our little dotting bit. It's a little blunt point used for making small dots. We have our calligraphy point used for writing calligraphy letters. I haven't actually managed to write anything decent with this yet. It's very difficult to use. I need far more experience. And finally, another tiny little sharp pointed one which doesn't want to come out. Come on, out you come. It's quite long. Because it's longer it doesn't get quite so hot, but it's also a kind of engraving point or lining point. And all of these just screw in and screw out. Of course the issue you have is when this is turned on, these points get exceedingly hot. So removing them is very difficult. Because they're made of quite a soft kind of metal, if you remove them with a pair of toothed pliers, you leave little indents on them, as I found out with this bit, and I can actually see little indents on it right now, which can morph it out of shape. I found what I tend to do is I tend to use a pair of pliers without teeth, flat pliers, along with a piece of cloth, and I just wrap a piece of cloth around it and twist. You can burn the cloth, so it needs to be a piece of cloth you don't particularly mind burning. Also, don't put them down straight off here onto any kind of surface that can burn. The recommended surface is a glass dish, and I found that a glass dish works exceedingly well. And of course when that rests on there, just rests on there, keeps the tip off, stops it burning. Don't have plastic near where you're working just in case you burn some of it. I'm all fingers and thumbs today. All fingers and thumbs. Don't have plastic near where you're burning in case you burn some of it. Don't use plastic to transfer designs. I've seen and heard about people using cling film, and they stick a piece of cling film over something with a design and then pyrograph through it. Complete madness. Look after yourself, look after your pyrography machine, and hopefully you will see me doing some pyrography soon, and you can all laugh at my pitiful attempts at pyrography. So, I'll see you next time.